Okay, I would like to give you the solution of the first assignment. Okay? Come. There is a great noise. Uh, the first exercise. The first exercise. Yeah, you have to prove that you suppose that E is about, let E is a norm vector space. E is a norm vector space, and M is a closed subspace of E. Yeah? Is a closed subspace of E. That means that M is contained in E. Which is not necessarily equal to E. It's contained in E. Okay. Yeah, we can put the M is equal to E is travel. So we suppose M is not equal to E is contained strictly in E. Then tell me that there is S1 which is not which is here and not in E. Okay, I don't know if I put the S1 or S3, yeah, S1. There is S1 which is an element of E, but S1 is not an element of M. And I put D, the distance of S1 to M. I call it D. This D is necessarily greater than 0 because S1 is not in M. Like this. It is this is not in M, like this kind of course. It's strictly. And for all A, we put all A here, which is all A in the element of 0, 1, like this. You can D, you can compare D over A. Necessary might be greater than D. Then you have this from here, you have the infimum of the distance S1 minus M. When M is the element of this is less than D over A, like this. The infimum is less than D over M, like this. Then we can get another M which is inside that you have this condition. Then there is this X0 in M such that you have the norm of L1 X0 minus beta than less than D over A, like this. You have this kind of. Okay, let's put now. Let's set quelque chose, set XA is equal to X1 minus X0 and the norm of S1 minus X0. You have this. So then the norm of SA is equal to 1. And if you compute the norm of X minus SA, if you compute it, it's exactly the norm of X, the S minus S1. SA is like this, S1 over S1 minus S0 like this. And also plus X0 over S1 X0. To have this condition, which is also equal to, I can continue there. I can put outside 1 over the norm of this. So the norm of X SA is equal to 1 over the norm of S1 S0 and we take after the norm of x1, x0, and x minus minus x like this, minus s1 plus x0. This kind of notation. Now let's say that you say that this is the element of x is the element of m, and also here is the element also of n. Then this one is greater than d. Then this one is greater than d over the norm of s1 over this one, because here and here the sum is element of here and here is element of n. This one is not element of n. Then this one is greater than d over this condition, which is here greater than d. We proved already that this is already less than d over a. Then this one is greater than d over a, which is equal to a. Then you have result. Then the norm of x minus sa is greater than a. What you are going to prove. That is all the first exercise. Very, very simple. The second exercise exercise 2. Exercise 2, what is what is the question? We say that exercise 2 x0 element of e, and say that x0 is not equal to 0. You have to prove that there exists u linear continuous continuous form, say that you have this condition, say that u of x0 is equal to the norm of x0, and the norm of u0 is equal to 1. Or let us prove it. Okay, let's just put d like r0 like this. Let's just suppose that d like this. Let's set d equal to r x0. R x0 like this. And which is a subspace, a sub-vector space of your vector space E like this. So you define a map u like this. U of t f0, you define that is equal to t, the norm of f0. This is a map, the linear map on E. This on D is linear. U is linear. Linear in the theorem of Rad-Banach is satisfied. This one is linear and satisfy the three conditions. If you take the norm of this, you have this condition, the two conditions. Also, you can apply the Rad-Banach theorem to conclude after. You have this. So then you have u of x like this. U. Okay, precisely linear continuous. Continuous map. Linear continuous map like this. and u of x0 is exactly x0, which is also this one is all the same. To prove it, to prove this, to prove the second, you have to prove to compute u of tx is like this. U of x for all x in D, u of x, if I take the norm, is exactly the norm of x0 like this, which is equal to also the norm of t x0, which is equal to the norm of x. Then the norm of u is already less than 1. Then if there exists k, say that you have u of k is less than k, s like this, it will be not possible. If suppose that k less than 1, it's not possible. Then necessary, because not possible, because the norm of u of x is already equal to the norm of x. Then necessary the norm of u is necessarily equal to 1. If the norm for u is equal to 1, use now we can extend this to d to e now, and you have the solution. Then from Banach's Banach theorem, we can extend u to I to e like this, and denoted by u0. Then you have for 10 to the Banach theorem, you have also the same. You have the norm of u0 is equal to 1. And also u0 of this is equal to this, because the restriction of t is the same. But you take the u, when you compute here, you took your u0 of x, here is exactly the u0, the restriction to our d. You have the same result for this. So u0 of also x0 is also equal to the norm of s. When you extend it, when I do this will in the extent to of j, if you like j, in j the same are equal. So y is not is equal for u0, because x0 is element of your d. x0 element of d. Then f of x0, u of x0 is exactly u0 of x0. You have this condition. So what is function? Then here I repeat again. If there is k less than 1, say like this condition, you can have this result after. You can have this. So you can get k less than 1, say you have this condition. That was the condition, because you are this result. So necessarily u of what is necessarily equal to 1. Okay, thanks. Okay, we say that from Banach theorem, you can extend u like u0, say that you have this condition. And what to do now, if this space spirits the point of E, the real E spirits the point of E. Let us work it now. From the previous question, we proved already that if we have x0 which is not equal to 0, there is u, such that the u of x0 is equal to the norm of x0. Now, we just suppose let us take two elements for all x y, element of E, such that x is not equal to y. like this. Then s minus y is not equal to 0. Then you have the resist u, which is element of this. Set that u 0 like this. Set that u 0 of x minus 1 must be not equal to 0. Then u 0 of x different to u 0 of y. What we are going to prove? That means that u 0 separates the point of E. Then E separates the point of there is issue in E star side that you have this condition. Okay, thanks. Now you are going to prove the third question. The third question states that when you have something like that, when you take x which is not equal to 0, you take x0 which is not element of m, we are going to prove that the resist u0 which is the element of the dual such that you have this condition u0 of m is equal to 0 and u0 of x0 is not equal to 0. Okay, so we have this condition. How can I prove it? Let us suppose that let's take this map from E into the Gaussian space of M. We say that first of all, M here is a closed subspace of E. Is a closed subspace of E. Then this Gaussian space is also a normal vector space. Yeah, this was. No, I will put it like I like this. It's like that for element here you have the I of x, which is just the class of x like this. Okay. And the norm of x can be written like this. When you see the norm of I of x, it's exactly the norm of x plus m, which is the norm of the class of x, which is the infimum of the norm of this x plus m when m element of m at the definitive of the norm of this Gaussian space. Now, since E is the limit of since 0 is the limit of m, then you have the norm of x, that is less than x, that's the norm of x. Then the norm of I is less than 1. Like this kind of awesome. Next, now we are going to prove that you know that I of m must be equal to 0, but it is equal to 0 because m if this kind of quotient space you have these conditions is equal to 0. Okay. Now, what these conditions is equal to 0, which is not equal to 0. This count, and x of and I of x0 will be equal to the x0. Not only that, it's x0 plus m we say that it is not, if you descend to the class of 0, because x0 is not an element of, of x, you have this one, so this one is not equal to 0. Then if what you are I of x0 is not equal to 0, from the equation 2, that means that the resist u, which is the element of the dual of this, such that you have this condition. I repeat again, x0 is not in M. Then this class line is not distant to M, not distant to a class 0. From here, it's distant to a class 0. From here, there exists u, which is given such that you have this condition, such that u of u of this kind of field you can put a u of I of x like this must be equal to the norm, the norm of I of x. Like this. For the previous question, you have this condition. And this kind of u here is a map from here. What is the meaning? Yeah, is this one is not equal to 0? The u is not here, but is the quotient space, the dual of this quotient space. Because here I of x0. This here you are in the quotient space. Then there's u, which is the element of the dual of this quotient space. This quotient space, such that you have this condition u of I of x0 must be equal to the norm of x0. You're using the previous question. Sorry. Use this one, you are this set. Okay, from here, what am I going to do? Okay, let's put now, let's take the u0 of x equal to u of x of x like this. It will be this. And you have all the conditions. You have u of x0 of m must be equal to 0. And u of s is also not equal to 0. Like this, what we are going to prove. It is all. Okay. So let's see the third question. So I remember you saying that you want to do this thing, because when you say that the previous question that if you have x0 which is not equal to 0, you can get a linear form so that the image it might be equal to this one, which is not necessarily equal to 0. And you have this condition. Because this here for here is m, not necessarily equal to this one is 0, and m this one also equal to 0. Okay? Now, what is the question you need again? Yeah, you solved already this. Yeah, okay. And what we just yeah, okay. The third question, the fourth question now. What is the fourth question? Let me see. Yeah, we say that x0 is like this. You say x0 in E, such that what? The question, fourth question. We say that we take x0 element of E, such that the distance of x0 to M is equal to D, which is not negative. You understand? So we have to prove that there exists u, which is the element of the dual of E, like this, such that you have this condition, such that for u u of 0 is equal to m of m is equal to 0, and also u of x0 is equal to d here, and the second, and we have to prove that the norm of u0 must be equal to 1. And what we are going to prove is that the question of this part of we have to prove. You take x0 here, take the distance here is d, it is not equal to 0. And then okay, have to prove that there exists u0, which is dual of here, so you have the three conditions. This is the last question of the first exercise. Last question of the first exercise. Okay, and now suppose that you put here u like this. We take u. Let us suppose m. You put m like k like this. K x0 plus m. I define n like this, which is just this here in the subspace, is a closed subspace. Is a closed of this condition, which is a closed subset of E. Now we are going to prove this the three condition. And you say that if we take any y, any element of m, y can be written like this: lambda x0 plus m like this. Getting it plus m or plus x if you want. I can put plus s of s in the same. Okay, get that put plus x here. Where x here is the element of m. We can use it like this. And we can prove also that this decomposition is unique. This decomposition or representation is unique. I mean that you have the two positions like this: lambda x0 plus x, which is equal to lambda prime x0 plus s prime like this. You have that mean that you have lambda prime x0 might be equal to s prime minus x like this. This kind of condition. That makes it. And you know already that this one is the element of m. Then necessarily x0 is the element of m, which is a contradiction. Because if this one is m, this is not one necessary. That means that x0, because this one is a scalar. That means that necessarily x0, which is the condition between that x0 is not the element of x. Because you suppose here that x0 is not the element of if you show that this x0 is the element of f. Okay, then we can define a map like this. We can define a map G like this. J from M into the basis field of K like this. Of map such that you have for all x here, or for all y here, I can associate E lambda D. Because the decomposition is unique. That means that if you take element there is a unique lambda in case I value this condition. So I can define the map from D to the basis field, like that y I take this kind of map. Like that G of y will be equal to lambda D. And you have this kind of map. So we can prove also that this one is the element is linear and continuous. First of all, it's just a linear. G is linear. It's all the linear. What is continuous? Also, you have to prove that you have to compute the norm of this. So we just compute the norm of this element. If you compute it, I know already that when you have y here, y, the norm of y is equal to the norm of lambda x0 plus x here. You have this position. From here, you have this, it's just equal to lambda. I can put lambda outside and lambda like this, the norm of this, and I put inside minus x0 minus x over lambda. Suppose that lambda is not equal to 0, like this condition. From here we have this. That means that you have what? That means that you have this condition. That means you have the norm of this, which is this one, which must be greater than you have the norm of lambda with the infimum. And I can I can put it directly. The norm of lambda. You should know that this is the m, it's the limit of m. That means that this one is necessarily bigger than x0. X0, yeah, distance of x0 to m. So this one is bigger than this. No, this one is bigger than the distance of x0 m like this. It's bigger than which is equal to our t. So you have the lambda like here, and d is the position, which is exactly u, the norm of u of, but you are going to g, you can put the g of y. Then we can conclude that from here, we can conclude that you have this one. Then g of y is less than the norm of y. If you see correctly here, you have d like this, d of y, which is less than. So this one is equal to d. You have this conversion. So that means that the norm of d is less than 1. Okay. But now let us prove that the norm of d is bigger than 1. But how can I prove it? If you prove it, it will be odd. And you use after one of the current of Banach, the Banach theorem, to conclude. Because J is a linear form on in the subspace. This one is a subspace of E. This is linear, which verify this condition. There exists a linear map, a linear form, which is the extension of G, simply verify the same condition. So if you substitute to prove that D, the norm of D is equal to 1, it will be odd. Okay. Let us prove that the norm of D is equal to 1, it will be odd. Okay, that's how can we prove it? So the norm of D, we suppose that D is what? D is the infimum of the norm of x plus this m. Where m is the limit of m. Now that is for m. It is the limit of this thing that is xl. Okay. So you can prove that D must be equal to, for ns you have this condition. Using the definition of the infimum of this, that means that for all epsilon, that means that for all epsilon positive like this, you can get a x element of n such by this condition, the norm of x plus okay, so the only m, which the distance is from where? Is from x0. Yeah, this one is x0. The S, I think that the norm of x0 plus x like this must be less than this condition. Must be less than d plus epsilon. Using the characterization of infimum of some space. You have this. Now the resist is like this, that you have this condition. So let us put now z. Let us consider z, which is the x0 plus x over the norm of x0 plus x like this. You suppose this condition. We say already that the norm of z is equal to 1. And first one is equal to 1. And you can put it like this. Z can be written like this form. x0 1 over the norm of x0 plus x like this. You are here plus something plus x over the norm of x0 plus x. This is an element of M, because x is an element of M. This one is an element of M. This one is an element of M. And this x0 here. So when we complete the image of the z, it just lasts like this one by d. Then the image u, we can put the d of z must be just equal to 1 over the norm of x0 plus x like this, multiplied by d. You can make this condition. Because d like this, the map is d of why the sum. This one, if you compare this, is like you have x0, this one is our lambda. x0 lambda plus x. x0 lambda plus x. The image by d is a lambda by d. You get me? Like this condition. Yeah, now you use the fact that this condition, you divide x0 plus s is less than d plus epsilon. Then you have this one, the norm of d of z like this must be greater than d by the d plus epsilon. This condition. When we take the epsilon to infinity, we try to see what's happening. When epsilon tend to 0, but not infinity tend to 0, we have the condition. You have the norm of z like this, as z equal to bigger than d over d, which is equal to d. If you take the supremum of this for this uniball, this one is exactly the norm of d, which is that greater than 1. That's all. So using the fact that the norm of d is already less than 1, and the norm of d is also bigger than 1, that means that the norm of d is equal to 1. And you use the Hahn-Banach theorem to extend J to a function which is R. Then there exists F1 which is an element now for the dual this condition such that you have this concept that the norm of you say that you call it u here. Okay, let us talk about u. Yeah, u0 like this, such that the norm of u0 equal to 1, and verify all the conditions you got it. The condition you have to prove that means that you have to prove that u of m is also equal to 0, u here of m must be equal to 0, because m here, when you have any m here, or you have an element of m, y, which is the element, which is like this for lambda d plus something on m. You can just in m, that means that lambda is equal to 0. Then is equal to 0. This one is lambda is 0 for lambda. This u for any m there is lambda, which is 0, 0 divided by d, so equal to 0 for all m in m. For m, when you give m in m here, the image by your map is 0 for by d, which is equal to 0. Is why you have this condition. Because from here, the image of a y exactly lambda log here is not d by x0. The image of here is actually lambda for by lambda by x0. So you have this condition. So you have lambda is 0 here, not d by x0. Then x0 that we solve. So which is equal to 0. You have this condition. The y by this, the y is exactly equal to 0. I repeat it again. The map like this, I will map D, map M into the basis field. I repeat it again for you. Such that you have y is like this for lambda x0 plus m. The image is lambda d. Is all. The image is lambda d. So the image is lambda d. So we have this condition here. If we are just m here, that means that our lambda is equal to 0. The middle is 0 by d. What I mean 0 by d, it is okay. 0 by d. 0 by d, that's exactly this one. Is 0 by d, which is equal to by 0. And the image of m is equal to 0. Though then is for all m here, the image must be necessarily equal to 0. U of 0 of the capital M is equal to 0. It's what you are looking for. Okay, thanks. Okay, let us. I'll give you the solution of exercise 2. Exercise 2. Exercise 2. Yes, the exercise 2 contains 2 questions. The first question we suppose that E, which is a balanced space, including F, which is also balanced, we suppose U, this map up here, and also this map for here in the basis field of K. You know that this one is Fi, the family of continuous linear form of E. And you have this map here, which is just the map of F composite with E. The question that first of all, you suppose that Fi separate the element of F. The second condition, the composite Fi composed with here is linear, is continuous, is linear continuous form. Then you are going to prove that. Then we are going to prove that U is continuous. What we are going to prove? We suppose that U is here. We are going to prove that U is continuous. Fi is continuous, linear form from here. And this, and you say that for each Fi separate the point of F. And said that this one is continuous. This function is continuous. And you have to prove that U is also continuous. We can use the theorem of the closed graph, the closed graph theorem. You can, if this J is a graph, the graph of U. The graph of U it contains element like this from x u of x like this, where is the element of your e? What you call the graph of e. We are going to prove that this graph, which is as well that is G. You have to prove that G is closed. If you show that G is closed, that means that U is being continuous. G is closed, that means that this U is being continuous. We know already that G is contained in E closure. As this one is very well known by definition of the closure of a set. Now let's just prove that the closure is contained in G. What we are going to prove. So I'll take the element here for x0, y0, the element which I take it in the closure of G. We are going to prove that this x0, y0 is also the element of G. We take in the closure of G. We are going to prove that this is the element of G. We are going to prove that it's the element of G. Take here, we are going to prove the element of G. Okay, what can I do? Okay, if x0, y0, the element of G, the closure of G, that means that there exists a sequence Sn like this, and Un Sn, which is the element of the graph of J, such that Sn converge activity of x0 and your u of xn converge to y0 to at infinity. Now we are going to let's prove that y0 is equal to u of x0. What we are going to prove. If you prove it, it will be up. You use the theorem, the closed graph theorem. You use to do that. Suppose that it knows two. Suppose that for sure it knows two. You suppose that this kind of it knows two, and you treat your if I contradiction will be you can conclude after. You suppose that it's true, and you conclude that it be after. We first of all that Fi is continuous. Is already continuous, and you know that ui converge to y of 0. Then fi composed to u of xn converge also at infinity of fi for x0, because fi is continuous. If this one convert to y, the image is convert to this. It is very true, no logic, because in fact that f here is continuous. And if you suppose that, let us suppose that you are not this is not indifferent to u of x. You suppose this is not true. This one. If you get a contradiction, it be up. Okay. If u0 is distant to u of x 0 like this, you have this condition, and fi separates the point of f like this. Here is the element of f. If fi separates the point of f, that means that the resistor, that means that Fi of this is also distant to Fi of U of X0. You have this, if you have this condition, you are also this kind of force. It's this kind of force also. If you have this kind of force. Okay. Now we are going to say something. Let's mean that this is distant to this. You are going this one. This is necessarily distant to this. If you complete now the limit of here, let us complete the limit infinity of Fi compository for U of Xn this. We suppose that this one is also continuous. Then this is exactly Fi of U of X0 is 0 because Fi opposed to U is continuous. Then if you compose the limit here, like this one, the limit can put it inside. The limit of here, you can put it inside. And here is also equal to, if I put it the limit of Fi composed U of Xn is equal to Fi of U the limit of Sn, because this is continuous. So they are exactly the same. So yeah, the limit of here is equal to this. The same limit of here is equal to this. You say that the limit is unique. Then this is equal to equal to this. Because if X0 is not equal to this, you can't have this one because what is the complex transformation. And because this is different to this one. If this Si is not equal to this, you have this condition. If not different distant, you can have the limit which are distant. You know, you are not for the problem or unity of the limit you will be not sure. So this is what is the contradiction. Not this one is is not possible. Then Y0 is necessarily equal to U0. That means that if you are this convert to X0, this one convert to X0, Y0 is equal to the median here. That means that U is continuous because the graph is closed. Then U0 is equal to U of 0. That means that U X0 Y0 element of what we are going to prove. J is closed. Is closed. Then U is continuous. Is continuous because the graph is closed. Then U is continuous. Okay. Now the second question of the exercise 2 now. The second question, exercise 2, the second question. We have to prove that we take T, which is a map. Let me see the problem. We suppose that this is a map from E into the dual of E, like this, which is linear. Like this, and the map such that X is not negative for all X in E. And now we have to that T is continuous. What this is the question. T is continuous. This kind of look. So how can we do it? Very simply, we use also the theorem of the closed graph. The closed graph theorem. quadrature theorem, you have to prove that the graph of t is equal to the graph of t. I just prove it. If I tell just now the graph of t is always contained in the graph of t, this one so let's prove that if you take a bit here, this here. For all x now, I take some millimeter from all x SF, it is an element of the graph of t, the closure of the graph of t. We are going to this element is also in a graph of t. Then there exists a sequence. There exists a sequence xn, fn like this, which is an element of such that sequence of the element of here. S here, F here, like this. That's what the image. This is an element of here, which is an element of the E composite before the E. That's this one. That was put a sequence like this. We say that Sn converges to X like this, and Fn it converges to F like this. Now we are going to prove that. F here is equal to Tx. What equal this? If the question, if you prove it, it will be out. Sn convert to X, Sn convert to F. If you succeed to prove that the F is a limit of this one, because you have this will mean that F will be an X, Ts, which will be the graph of T. The graph of t. Okay, let's start to use the conditional, which we take, we complete txn like this, minus ty. We compose it by sn minus y. We compose this condition for all y in in E. We put it like this. We take f power of y. So this is like this because this one is that t of sn minus y. This is necessarily less than by assumption. By this condition, necessarily like this one. And that's now complicated. We put y like this. You have this condition. And we are going to establish something. Okay, this for all y, take it in E. So if you take something like that, let's set y like equal to like this. Let's say zy equal to x plus tz, by this condition, where t an element of R and z and also an element of E. If you have this condition and you put y inside, from here, if you complete, you put y inside, you get something like that. You get something like that f. And you get something like that. You have this condition, you have this one. But first of all, if you contain Ts like this, you have this one. You have this condition. If you complete it like this, you have something which is like this. T8 like T8, yes. What I'm going to see there. Okay. Yeah, okay. We say, I'll forget to say something. This limit here, this is a sequence Sn Fn. It is sequence an element of the graph of T. Of the graph of T. That means that f of n is necessarily equal to Tsn, of the graph of E. S of n. Fn is the limit, this pair or limit of the graph of t. Because you take in the closure, there exists a sequence of the graph of t which converge to this, what you are going. This is the limit of the graph. Then the Fn is an image of for x by t. You have it already. You have to put it like this. Also, you have also is why you put it there in Tn like this. It is that by limit here. If you complete a limit here from here you can first of all you have this called Tsn convey to what there to f. You have f here minus t y. Sn convert to x, where x minus y must be equal to a product not negative. Here, for all y in E, we also put this. I repeat again, Ts convert to x for at the limit here, when you take to n to infinity, from limit of here you have this function. Because the scalar product here is continuous, and so you can put the limit at this condition from here. Now, in this side, in this you have put y by each value inside. What I'm saying, you have t here, you have f minus tx, that is tx minus tz, and x minus x. Okay, you can put, okay, if you want, I can put it minus x minus t z like this. Is less than equal 0. You have this condition. Though say this is equal to 0, then if you complete it, you have something like that. F minus tx like this. You can put it like this. Okay, put it like this, you have this one. Therefore, Ts scalar with Tz like this, and also minus T scalar with this one. Okay, put it for so minus T scalar minus T Z is less than 0 like this. Look at me. Okay, so you have for this condition, you can put it outside there. What you are going to see. So you have this condition f minus tx like this. Here you can put it t outside. So z must be less than t, then z like this. This is equal to t, the norm of z like this. Is this condition like this? Also, so when t tend to 0, so when t tend to 0, you have for all the element of E, you have the scalar f minus tx z must be equal to must be less than this kind of conditions. This kind of z is this tend to 0. This must be greater than 0. This condition. This must be greater than 0 when you suppose that t can top by t indicate t is positive at this condition. But from here, we suppose here, which you take t like this, you put t here, put t outside, you simplify there in the condition when your t is positive. It's not positive, then you change the chance. Now, if you fail to take t is not positive, it's negative now. So you have the same here. You have f minus t x z like this must be less than t z Z like this. C Z Z like this. Which is the norm of the efficiency. So you have when t tend to 0, when t tend to 0, but like this, if you want, then you have the scalar product of minus tx z must be less than 0. Here, when t tend to 0 must be n positive like this, but you are this condition. T tend to 0 and positive, you are this positive, you are this. So from here, and from the fact that you have here, and then you can conclude. We can conclude that f minus t z and what we call tx here, tx z must be equal to 0 for all z divided of t. Then you have f equal to ts. That means that the graph is closed. That means that x here will be equal to x ts, which is an element of the graph of t. Then the graph is closed. Then this one is closed, and t is continuous. And t is continuous. Okay? Now I'll repeat again. Here you can put t outside, you put the t square, put here. If you want to simplify it, you want to suppose that t is positive. Because if not, the inequality will change. If not, t is not positive, the inequality will be changed. Those two still like this input. But the same condition, we suppose that t is negative. You have this inequality. We change also. So it will be less than 0. So for all x, you are equal. So the graph is closed. That means that t is continuous. Okay, thanks. Okay, for exercise 3, it contains the proof of the theorem of Feynman. This theorem, and that's the proof of this theorem. I gave you to prove here. Okay. Now we take let x. We take x to prime like this element of the ball of the medial of this produce, and the ball on this, and we take epsilon positive, and the data real the number associated to epsilon by the uniform convexity. Convexity. You prove it already. That means that what? That means that when you take S in element of the ball of E, we take also Y, also the element of this ball, and side that you have the norm of X minus 1 minus Y is greater than epsilon. Here is implied that the norm of X plus Y over 2 is less than 1 over 2. You say that the data is a number which is associated to this kind of tool. For all epsilon, there is data side that for this condition, what we call the uniform convex property. So Let us prove now the question is to prove that there exists S. Let's prove that there exists S here with an element of the ball in E star such that the norm of this S prime like this is greater than 1 over delta, or 1 minus delta over 2. What we are going to put this of this one and this. So it's very simple. We know already that S is here in this ball. X here in the element of the ball in the BDR of S. That means that the S, the norm of S here, which is equal to the supremum of S prime, when S prime is the element of the ball of prime. This one is equal to 1. By the definition of the supremum area, that means that this one, that means that you have 1 minus delta over 2 is less than there exists S prime. Let's use this one. It's less than S prime. S is the norm of it. When S prime is the element of the ball of this one is the ball star, the ball of E star. That's the first question. Very simple. This one. So we want to prove that this one is just from the definition of the fact that S prime, the norm of S prime is like this, and you know the characterization of the subnorm of an element like this condition. There exists S prime here, so that this one is greater than this. It is very simple. Okay. Well, the questions you said that put this one, and also you said that. So the question is to prove that there exists S prime, saying that in the ball, saying that you have this condition, and also you have another condition. Let us suppose that now. Let us put let's say like O1, which contains the element like this, such that such that element of the E, the BBR of E like this, such that you have this condition. Such that you have absolute value of y minus S prime like this, of S prime like this is less than epsilon. This condition. And that means that O here, O1 is an open set for the topology. E with subdivision of E star. So you prove it already. The kind of topology is like this. I just remind you something. We show that you put V like this, an element of, you contain F in an element of E, such that the norm of F minus F0, Si, this less than epsilon for I in element of 1. This one, dV, is a neighborhood of F0 for the topology E star of this. You actually use it. That is also, this one is a neighborhood of S2 prime for this kind of topology. That's very simple. Just use the definition you have already in your course. So an example that you can say also that the O1 here is a neighborhood of X from here for this kind of topology. The topology, the visual and the dual of this distance. It is the first thing got like this. And you have this condition. Instead of taking epsilon here, it's better to take like this, delta over 2. It's true for all epsilon. If you take delta over 2, it's also it's true like this. So you have this condition. And you know that by the theorem of Goldstein, you have it in the one of the video you speak about this theorem. We say that the G of the build ball on E is dense for this kind of topology. And if you are this one if you are here, is the topology in this kind of topology like this. Here and here is equal to B, the big gap of the for this kind of topology. And that this one is an open neighborhood of this. And from here, you know only that x 2 prime is an element of this ball. And the image by D is there by this. Then there exists. S here, as an element of the ball of A, such that the neighborhood of this one meet this kind of neighborhood which is O, such that what? Fact that Gx is also an element of our O, each one. Gs is the O1. That means what? That means that D here, dx is the element of O1. That means that you have this condition, the norm of dx minus s prime, like this, of s prime, of s prime is less than theta. What you have to prove is that it means that this is contained in our neighborhood to fake extra. Using the fact that the image of the ball E is dense and there exists S here, that this is O. You have this one, so you are going to prove. Okay? The second question, I ask you, I don't know, you have to prove that. Let me see the question. The second question, you have to prove that some inequality. I don't remember if I don't get the question here. Yeah, this condition. The second question, you have to prove that the norm of dx like this minus d of x. The question, you have to prove ds minus s 2 prime like this. When you take the norm, is less than epsilon. Il est dans epsilon. That's the first question we have to prove. So we suppose that it's not true, and we can have some contradiction. We feel that it's true. Let us suppose that the norm of dx minus s prime is bigger than epsilon. This one. If also suppose this. I can call this notation like star like this. Suppose this. Then I'm going to say, let's consider the ball of the center d of x like this. D of x. Here is the ball of the medium of the center epsilon. This kind of this ball. This ball is compact. Is compact in the area of this for the topology. For the topology sigma E star and E star like this, because using the theorem of Alaoglu. Alaoglu-Banach theorem, we have to prove that the unit ball is closed, but for this topology. So it's so for Alaoglu-Banach theorem. It's so like this. Then you have in the Hausdorff space. That means that it's also bound, is closed. Then G of here, G the ball. Then this ball, this ball of the center D x and the radius this one is closed. Because you have a non-vector space which is also metric space, so is Hausdorff space is any compact subspace is also closed. So then it is closed. So when you consider this kind of map here, when you consider this one, let us put O2 like this. We consider we contain the element y with the element of also the binomial, such that you have this condition y of this minus x prime the norm is greater than epsilon. Than epsilon or what? Than delta, than epsilon. It's better to put than epsilon, It's greater than epsilon. Let's just suppose it is than this. It's than epsilon. And this one is exactly the complement of this ball. The complement of this ball is this here. The complement of this ball, the ball of theta dx of epsilon. Then O here is open. Is a no is open. Is open and contain S prime and contain S2 prime. That means that it's a no of S prime for this kind of for this topology too. And you use again the theorem of Alaoglu to conclude what you are going to see. And it is also open. It is open. That means that O. Then by the fact that then the O here, O meet also the intercept of this one of D of the B of this of B here is not equal to, is not empty. That means that there exists X here, there exists X element of the ball. This one is the ball of E, such that you have dx minus x g of x. You have this condition. You are here. It's beta, so after this condition, which are this one is W of the W of this, which is equal to this. I want to see if I'm right what I'm saying. Yeah, okay. Dx dy. So there exists. We say all the s here. Those I can put there exists y. I can call it that y. Here that dy minus dx. The dog is greater from f. It is like this. At this condition. I remind you here, let's see here, this tool, I said that the center is here. See the writing x here, okay, so see the writing this one, you can put here ds. It's better to write that ds is better. Here is a ds. Here you have the following result. Here is a ds. Because it's a ball of center ds. So ds here, the head is the ds. So the center is ds. The center is ds. So this one is the ds. Then this one is contained ds. The center of ds. So this is just a neighborhood of this kind of element. So if London meet this, there exists an element which is here said that is the molecular this condition, use this fact. Okay? Now you have to use it after this kind of stuff. Now let us complete now the two this kind of we complete this kind of relation. 2x prime of x primaries. We can complete it. If we complete it, we get something simpler like this. It's equal to of prime minus s prime of x plus y of s prime plus x prime of x. Well, this s prime of x, yeah, f prime of y minus this kind of condition minus s prime of x plus y. Yeah, s prime of f this one minus s prime of x plus sy s2 prime of s prime plus s prime of y. You have this condition minus this one, and you put this there. So you put it there. So from here you have this condition. Okay. From here, you get a put here, you have this kind of condition. And you have this one. So you have s prime of x, you have this condition. Minus and plus minus s prime of y after plus this one. So we get 2 times this. Okay. So you have this s prime minus x plus this. So if you have this 2, this one we shall put this plus here. You have this condition minus here. You have this condition. Then 2x prime x2 prime of this, it can be right like is laid down 1 over that data plus the norm of ref of x plus y, this kind of norm of this, which is less than data plus the equation plus the norm of this x plus y. This one, okay. From here you can prove exactly that. Then from here, using the fact that s prime of this you use that you have the norm of x minus y is less than epsilon. Using the fact that because of s prime of s prime, you prove only that is greater than 1 over delta over t. You use it to prove this kind of function. This here is a contradiction because you have this one. If you consider this evolution and you consider this, you have the contradiction because this is exactly g of y minus x, the norm. Or note only that g is an isometry. G is an isometry. G is an isometry. Then you have x minus y is greater than epsilon. Here x minus is less than that. It's not possible. Then you have what you have. This is the contradiction. Then you have this what we are going to prove. Then you have dx. Then you have dx minus this is. Then you have the norm of s prime minus ds is less than epsilon. It's what we are going to prove. Ds is less than epsilon. I remind you this D is the isometry. So the image, the different, this one is equal to this. Is the isometry, this is equal to the norm of xy. It's the same. It's the same. This one here is greater than epsilon, here is less than epsilon. What is the contradiction? So necessarily you have your response. Because we should suppose first of all by this is the biggest term. Before talking about this we suppose that this is greater than epsilon, and you got some contradiction. Then is you have to what you are going to prove. Okay, and the second, the third question. The third question, you have to prove that G, you have to prove that D of B is equal to B like this. Yes. And you have to, it's necessary, it's very simple to prove that the suppose so that D of B is complete. You have to prove that this one is complete in Hausdorff space. Then is closed. Then is closed. And when you use now the theorem of Goldstein, who proved that the G of it, the closure is like this. Goldstein said that the closure of B, the closure is exactly the ball of this one. Well, this one you have to prove that it's closed. That is exactly what we are going to prove. That means that you can. The conclusion is the fact that any uniformly convex, banal convex, uniformly convex space is necessarily reflexive. What you are going to prove. Okay, thanks. Okay, the last exercise now, exercise 5, I think. You have to prove that the closure of the open ball of like this is the ball that is the closed ball. The closure of the open ball is the closure ball. When you have E is a non-vector space. non-vector space. If it is not a non-vector space, it's not true. And the second proof, you have to prove that the interior of this closure is exactly the open set like this. It's like this, but I'm going to prove. Okay, let us prove the first one, which is very simple. Let us prove that B of the bulk of the open ball, the closure of the open ball is equal to the closed ball like this. First of all, you know that this open ball is contained to the closed ball. This one is a very triangle. Then the closure like this is contained also in here. You know that the closure of this, then the close up of 0 like this is contained to or this one is like this. This is close, so it's equal to B like this. That's this color. Then you have already proved that this is contained in this. Now try to prove that this is contained in this. Let's prove that the closed ball is contained in the closure of the open ball. What we are going to prove this one. So we take x here. For all x, we take here element of this closed ball. This here. That means that the norm of x must be necessarily equal to less than r, by this condition. And first, let's consider the sequence. We consider this sequence Sn. Define that 1 over n like this x. For all s, we take all the like this. And we know only that the norm of Sn is equal to the norm, the absolute value of this one, the norm of x, the absolute value of this, the norm of x is necessarily positive, like this, which is necessarily equal to this one equal to 1, the necessary treatment equal to less than r, because this one is strictly less than 1. Then the product is less than r. That means that Sn here is a sequence of the limit of the open ball of 0. You get me? Because it's strictly less than r. Then you have this condition. But from here, if you compute this kind of sequence like this, that this one, if you compute x minus s minus 1 like this, the norm of this will be equal to this throughout here. It's equal to the norm of x minus 1 over n like this, the norm of this one. This is like this. This is exactly equal to 1 over n, the norm of x, which is less than r sub n, r over n like this. S is where like this. We tend to 0 when n tend to infinity. That means that Sn, this sequence converge to x. This one, Sn, is a sequence element of this open ball. Then the limit will be in the closure of this open ball, which is the open ball. Then you take X here, in conclusion, and you have prove that the ball of R, the closed here, is contained. This one is what we are going to prove. What they contained, and we have put this one. And the first part, you put only that this one is contained in this. Is contained in this. Then you have the equality. You have this. You have this now. Then the ball for this. When you take the closure, it's exactly the closure of this one. It will be the same for the second part of the proof. If you want to prove that, if you want to prove that the interior of is the interior of the closure of this is exactly equal to this. You have to do the same. You construct the same sequence like this. I'll give you some sketch or proof. You have to prove it. You have to know only that when you have the ball of 0 is contained in the ball of the closed. When you take the interior here, it also contains in interior. This one is open, so you have already the ball of this is contained in the interior of the closure of the ball. This one. Now you are going to prove that this is let's prove now that the closure, the interior of closure is contained to the ball of this will be all. It will be simple to prove. You do the same sketch. You suppose that there is this. You suppose that. Let us assume that there is this x0, which is an element of here, which is not there, which is an element of the interior of x, and x, the norm of x0 is bigger than r. This condition, and this one, and after you get to, if you are here, that means that there exists a ball or like this of center x0 which is contained in the ball of this ball, and you get a contradiction after. Constructing some sequence also like the first part, you will get it. Okay, thanks.